I had an activation of my natal Neptune, and I went to see a mystic or a clairvoyant in Bristol for the first time I'd ever seen one, and she said, "You're going to develop clairaudience." I didn't even know what clairaudience was. But yes, I did. I found that I began to hear all these words, and in fact I ended up putting them in my first novel. But then the clairaudience changed and morphed into clairvision. And I remember I saw a young hunter-gatherer lad on his journey into manhood. And indeed, I put the visions of clairaudience that I saw into my first novel. But also at that time, I began to be able to put my hands on rocks and experience and read rock energies, particularly the rocks of the sacred monuments, which so often used high quartz rocks which would hold the energies the Neolithic builders put into them. So I'm just telling you all that to show you the wonders Neptune can bring, because sometimes Neptune simply has the bad rap, which he also deserves. Okay, let's move to Pluto. Pluto starts December at 4 Capricorn in Uttarashada Nakshatra, ruled by the Sun, and ends December at 5 Capricorn. Very importantly, Pluto is square Venus, and that does sincerely set such an energy of empowerment in love expression for each of us as we move through December. Okay, Ketu. Well, as I mentioned in the introduction, Ketu transiting now in Virgo is a supreme call to each of us to increase our health and healing awareness. And Ketu also calls us to cut away what we've outgrown and no longer serves us. Ketu is a call to intuition and openness to divine insights. Ketu is all about, too, our past lives and ancestral issues. And, for example, my wife does Maggie Pashley, www.maggiepashley.com, does past life readings. And I had my Ketu return in the last 18 months because I have Ketu in Libra and Ketu was going over it. And past life readings so helped me identify a major karmic theme, which I then cross-checked into my Vedic divisional charts, and then have been blessed to bring so much healing to that. So, please hear this and see, do you think this applies to you? And of course, opposite is Rahu at 28 Pisces in Revati Nakshatra. Rahu is thus in the Gandanta zone at the end of Pisces, at the end of the universe. And this can bring us many insights. And it's important to be aware that Rahu is slowly heading towards Chiron. And as the Rahu to Chiron transit grows in the heavens, we should each of us look out for our own personal existential wound and woundedness and utilise ways of healing that and empowering ourselves around it. So Rahu starts December at 29 Pisces, Chiron at 22. They finally converge this month. A very special journey. Take note of it. Get a reading from me. We can even do a journey about it as well as the reading online. And so the next thing is Chiron. In the blog post, there's a note on Chiron itself. So on December the 27th, it's important to note that Chiron goes direct. And so the impetus for each of us to do wound healing work increases. The next point I mention is Lilith, Black Moon Lilith. And it's so important to know about Black Moon Lilith in your chart. It is what got stuffed into your unconscious and your shadow side. And that can be pretty awful things, which you actually need to find are there and heal. But it can also be your true power and beauty, which weren't allowed to you by your parents, teachers, priests, etc. You need to know about your natal Lilith. And this month, Lilith starts December at 12 Vedic Leo and moves to 15 Leo. And it's in Magha Nakshatra, the first of Leo's Nakshatra, arising out of the Gandanta zone. And of course, Magha is very much an ancestral issue. So check out which of your natal planets Lilith is aspecting, and certainly get a reading from me about your astrology and your year ahead, your karmas, and your Lilith. So the next thing is I'm going to mention 4 asteroids, because asteroids I find are so important to know about. And it's a shame that the Vedic establishment can't extend Vedic astrology to encompass Lilith and the asteroids, but I certainly do. And the first one I'd look at is Ceres, which is our harvest. Ceres transits from 9 to 21 Scorpio. And of course we know so much is going on in Scorpio in December. So Ceres is transiting from Anuradha Nakshatra to Jyesta Nakshatra. And Ceres in our birth chart is our own personal harvest. And we can get wonderful insights from receiving a definition of what is your personal harvest that you can offer. It's so helped me to see that definition. And often our personal harvest can arise out of quite terrible situations we go through. For example, asteroid Sedna can represent like awful childhood things. But just like Sedna, the Eskimo goddess energy, arose out of going through painful healing to be able to offer a harvest. So that Inuit Eskimos will pray to Goddess Sedna when they go out fishing to receive help harvesting a catch of fish. So that's Ceres. Pallas. Well, Pallas is, quite a martial energy. It points to the need to recognise disowned qualities within ourselves. So important. Get an asteroid reading from me, and of course have it in the context of a much bigger, wider reading. A specific feature is it can involve denial of our gender qualities, or even taking on opposite gender qualities because of difficult situations of upbringing, and we had to cope with that difficult people, those difficult situations when we were little. So check out what transiting Pallas is doing in your birth chart, bringing the struggle to rediscover and reconnect with the essential qualities of your own sex and gender orientation. Get a reading from me. Asteroid Juno transits from 24 degrees to 29 Leo in December. Juno thus transits from Purva Palguni Nakshatra to Uttara Palguni Nakshatra. And Juno's energy wonderfully embodies the issue of our commitment to relationship, and particularly identifying of how we may be rendered powerless by conflict in relationship, and how we might identify and handle that. And lastly, Vesta. I mentioned this in the introduction. You see, Vesta is the sacred flame. Going back most anciently to the hunter-gatherers, Vesta is the sacred hearth, and when a young woman would leave her family to start a new family, she would often take a burning piece of wood from the family of origin hearth and use it to start a new endless hearth fire in her new family. And it's so wonderful to know what your Vesta energy is in this incarnation. What is your Vesta shrine? And, well, in my case, I have Vesta conjunct Neptune and the Imum Cheli, the root of the chart. And it's in a sextile to Venus. And actually, Neptune and Venus are an unaspected sub-personality within my chart. So I always feel that Vesta is such a wonderful haven, the spiritual flame. And it's so wonderful to have that at times when life is fraught and Mercury is retrograding all over the place, etc., as it is in December. So to get a reading from me, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website. You can go to my worldwide dating site with a panel of astrologers and healers. That's lovestardating.com. Do subscribe to my Star Wheel Astrology blog. Do look up my wife's website, www.maggiepashley.com, for the many healings she does online. I have a Facebook page, which is Star Wheel Astrology, where you can see my blog posts and videos. And of course, I have my own video channel. And as I said, in my Star Wheel Astrology website, there's a more drop down, which has month pages showing planet positions in Western and Vedic astrology, ephemeris, new and full moons, and many interpretation guideline pages about planets in houses, planets in signs, that sort of thing. So it's been an extensive blog post, but the energies are complicated. And in my opinion, it's been extremely useful to identify the myriad of energies. And it's needed to pause each day and perhaps take a look at the transiting chart and how it relates to your birth chart, to remind yourself of the dangers and, of course, of the opportunities. So I hope to hear from you, and thank you. Bye-bye.